I just got in from a nice little walk outside. I had my morning coffee out there. And as you can see out the windows, it is gorgeous out. It's beautiful, sunny, a gentle breeze. The birds are chirping, and I was like, this is the perfect day to do the Breezin video. Now, I've been under a lot of stress and strain the last couple of days, heavy duty stress and strain. But everything is working out. I'll try my best to do this video as coherently as possible. I did do an article for Audiophile, so I'll leave a link to that below, which you can read my focused thoughts on this. But in essence, I'm looking at two different masterings of the same record, and they couldn't be more different, but equally valid. The copy I've been living with for years is this one. It is from Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, the original Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. Original master recording from the original master tapes, mastered at half speed by legendary mastering engineer Stan Ricker. It's also pressed on JVC Super Vinyl, and that plays into this, as you'll see as I get into the video. The new version is from the Acoustic Sounds 40th Anniversary Series. It is cut at 45 RPM by Matthew Lutthans. It is pressed at QRP, and it's in a gorgeous gatefold jacket, which just looks incredible. You know, Chad Casson once told me, I was always going on about the gloss jackets and how he can't drop the gloss jackets. And he said, I'm going to this anti-scuff finish, and you're going to love it. And you know what? I do. I actually do. Every one I've gotten has been superb. They really look amazing. So let's get into the idea of this. So George Benson was a jazz guitarist. This record marked a departure for him where he crossed over. So he crossed over into R&B and pop. So it has elements of jazz, pop, and R&B. He's also singing on this, which is amazing in itself. The guitar playing is excellent. The singing is wonderful. He does a little scat, a little regular singing, and you've heard him sing if you've heard this Masquerade, which was a monster hit on this album. It's wonderful. The production from Al Schmidt is excellent. The musicianship is top-notch. The recorded sound is excellent. Yet these two do sound different, and I'll tell you why. The Mastering Lab cut emphasizes musical flow, ease, and continuity. It doesn't draw attention to any particular element, as the early Mobile Fidelities can sometimes do. This gives the record a feeling of ease and warmth. The tube equipment probably contributes to this as well, but it's gentle, it's flowing, it's beautiful. Edges are slightly soft, and I think that was an intentional choice. It gives the record this relaxed quality throughout that is very attractive. The initial track, Breezin, just kind of pours out of the speakers into your room. And one of the things that I love about this record are the arrangements by Claus Ogerman. And you'll hear that distinctively in the first track. He has a very particular sound with the strings, with the flutes and so forth, and it gives this record a lift, which, although it would have been a great record on its own, this adds to it immeasurably. And I love Claus Ogerman's arrangements on here. You'll hear great guitar work, of course, the drum sound, the percussion. Everything is kind of in a fabric, I would say. You can detect individual elements across the soundstage, but everything is just slightly softened. And it's very, very pretty, undeniably. It also is quite dynamic. If you look at the 45 RPM cut across the sides, Breezin has its own side. And when I first noticed that, I said, oh, that's good. It's a longer cut. It needs to have its own side. It's actually only 5 minutes and something seconds long. But when you look at the grooves, they're so widely spaced that it usually indicates it's going to have great sound, and it does. The 45 RPM cut is good. It doesn't interrupt the musical flow per se. Of course, you have to flip a couple more times, But this cut, and there's an instrumental cut called, Affirmation, that also has its own side. So the other tracks are filled out in between, and this Masquerade opens side 2. What I noticed about the difference when I switched to this, and it's pretty much like I remembered, is the Mobile Fidelity favors precision, delineation, emphasis, has a kind of dazzling quality to it. Not surprising, because they were trying to differentiate themselves from mass market releases. So the bass is very taut and tuneful, and the extension is a little higher. So little details in the edge of the guitar, the drums, the cymbals, small percussion accents, the voice, all have this clarity around the edge that I think most people would like. There are times when the detail draws attention to itself, and that's one place where I would say the more integrated approach of the AS is preferable. Still, either approach is great. There is one caveat, though, and that is the vinyl. Now, I didn't request a second sample of mine, but I think it's probably about the same. The acoustic sounds, when you put them at the same level, which I always do, level matched, it's awfully hard to beat the quietness of JVC Super Vinyl. It's legendary for its quiet surface, and JVC could only produce it for a short time and then it was gone. And many have tried to duplicate it. The Neotech vinyl, the Clarity vinyl, nothing comes close to the quiet surfaces of a JVC Super Vinyl pressing. And as good as the Quality Record Pressings press is, there is a noticeable difference in the height of the noise floor of the vinyl. Now, this doesn't intrude on the music. It's just noticeable when you're lifting the stylus from the last groove or in the beginning groove. Once the music starts, it disappears. So it's not really a problem. It's just something I notice. And it is kind of interesting to point out, because that JVC Super Vinyl doesn't do that. It's like CD quiet, and it's pretty impressive. Overall, these two are different approaches to the same subject. Matt Lutthans cut ease, musical flow, beauty without drawing attention to details. In the Mobile Fidelity cut, it's clarity, it's precision, it's scintillating detail, a little bit tighter in the bass, so you hear individual bass notes a little tighter. The overall flow of the record is just as good. And there is one thing about this. The Mobile Fidelity, the strings from Claus Ogerman, you'll hear the difference right away. They are like fine filigree. They just glide in so soft and leave so softly. It might be, just that vinyl formulation allows that to happen so elegantly, but it is elegant, and it's a little bit of a difference from the very, very good Acoustic Sounds version as well. I'm glad to have both. Neither one of these is going in the sale pile. I like both for different reasons. But if you're interested in this record, the new one will cost you about the same as an old Mobile Fidelity, about $60, I think, for one of these. And you don't know what condition it's in. Most of these were taken care of very well by their owners. And it's always worth trying a used Mobile Fidelity from this era. Those are my thoughts on these two different records, different interpretations of the same subject, both equally valid, but I hope I've shed some light on it for you so you know what to expect. And until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.